Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Bryan Blevins. I'm here on behalf of the Texas Trial Lawyers Association, and we are in opposition to HB 1784. I think you've already heard and may be getting a flavor of the fact that this is a very important bill. It affects state entities. It affects the state of Texas itself. It affects school districts, homeowners, property owners, people who have apartment buildings, industrial sites, because it impacts any construction defect would mean a deficiency in the construction or the repair of any improvement to real property. And that claim is defined as a person who doesn't have to be the contracting party, doesn't have to be the person who knew or saw the building going up, but rather can be a person who bought it 5 and 6 years later. They've bought it with 6 years already run of the 10-year withering. This is a huge problem. It's not a statute of repose. It's more like a vanishing deductible. But the problem is what's vanishing is the value of the person's claim who's been wronged. We're talking about latent construction defects, things that are hidden, things that we don't know about. What this becomes is an incentive to hide defects, because the more we hide them and the better we hide them, the less we have to pay. That's an inherently problematic situation. This legislature created a statute of repose for construction defects because under the laws that existed previously, you had 2 years for negligence or DPPA. You had 4 years if you had had a contract for construction. But those statutes were extended until you knew or should have known. But the legislature came and decided we're going to put a 10-year cap on that, so that no matter what you know, in 10 years it's over. Well, this now isn't a statute of repose. It's a diminishment of that very right that the legislature gave homeowners and building owners and property owners. It's also important that the state look at this very carefully. The $60 million Allen Center facility that is now involved in litigation, which now would be left to voters to pick up the check for. Millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of road construction in this state, intended to last well beyond 10 years. Yes, ma'am.
How would this legislation impact those cases?
Well, because under the bill, a person would include a state entity, and it doesn't have to even be the owner of the property. And so as such, when the school district builds a $60 million facility and finds a defect that has to be repaired and costs millions of dollars to repair 6 years later, that claim will now be worth 30% less than the actual cost of repair. It's one of the surprising things. We're talking about work that may have been done 6 years ago, but the damage to the injured party is in today's dollars. It's whatever it cost that party then to repair it. That's real dollars. That's 100-cent dollars that are now going to be diminished under this provision. Also, think about the church that buys the air conditioner unit and has it installed on the top of their building, and over a 5-year period it leaks water and ends up denigrating the integrity of the roof, crashes down on the baptismal, and now we have to figure out how the congregants are going to pay for that, because 45%, 50% of the claim or the cost of that now goes back on them, as opposed to the defective installation, that improvement to real property. In addition to that, we have issues. I heard several things about, well, they don't take care of it, and they caused it through improper repair. Well, there are already defenses in the legal system. There's a duty to mitigate your damages. There's a duty you can allocate fault or responsibility to other parties who have failed to maintain the property. Under the Residential Construction Liability Act, there is a specific provision which provides that the builder gets written notice of the defect and a fair opportunity for the builder to remedy that defect. Also under the RCLA, they have defenses for the failure of the homeowner to mitigate their damages, the failure of an owner to take reasonable action to maintain it. In reality, this bill is going to increase litigation costs because people will have to bring their suits sooner rather than later because the clock's ticking, the claim is diminishing. They'll also have to find other defendants to be made fair. And then this last witness we had was insurance, which is you can have a claim denied under your insurance policy because of a construction defect, and now the construction defect is worth less than the value of your claim.
Members, are there any questions of Mr. Blevins? Mr. Blevins, thank you so much for